The writing process has taken us about 18 months, and there's three of us, Tim, Eva and myself, and what we basically have done is we've looked at the picture book of The Peasant Prince, and we break down exactly what happens on each page. So what the text says, what the author is telling us with the text, but also what the illustrator is telling us with the illustrations. And something as simple as, look, there's a tree in that corner there. What's the significance of that tree, and why is that tree there? And how do we incorporate that into our play? We get down to that kind of detail. With The Peasant Prince, though, what we were lucky to have is we had Mao's Last Dancer as well, as almost like a Bible that accompanies The Peasant Prince when you're researching and reading. So we were able to look at a picture and go, oh, that links with this chapter in the book. And this chapter in the book has all these other things here. And how has the illustrator incorporated that information into this picture? And how do we then take that and make that into a scene? So we break down each page, and it takes us probably about 2 months to do that, doesn't it?
Takes
a
good amount of time. And we also do a lot of research. So we research the era. So we have spent a lot of time looking at, the revolution, the Chinese Revolution, and, the time that the book is set in. So we spend a lot of time doing that even before the adaptation process begins. So it's a long journey.
And then we break things down into who's the protagonist and the character, and the journey of the character and all of the other characters. But we have to also keep in mind as adapters for the theatre that we only have 4 actors that have to play all these characters. So whilst we're writing, we're thinking, okay, they can play that character there, but then if they play that one there, how are they going to change? And all these sort of things as well. And we were also taking in mind, being mindful of the movement that was coming in and the audiovisual that was coming in. So we had a creative development with the dramaturg, Camilla Arkin, and we worked for a week with her, and then we had another, and Daryl Wallace, the composer, and then we had another creative development, and that was with all the 4 actors and Danielle, the choreographer, and we were very, very fortunate to have Lee as well come and contribute on the last day and tell stories and would say to us, oh, that line there, this actually happened, and I actually had this coloured rug and this, and that kind of detail that, was wonderful.
The thing that drew us to the story, well, to me personally to the story was, I had read it many, many years ago, and the actual novel, and was all, it's always been sort of a part of my history of reading. It was when Tim and Sandy came back from Queensland, and the book had been suggested to them by a class up in Queensland. I can't remember which one it was.
It was in Ayr.
Was it in Ayr?
Yeah.
And Tim said, oh my God, there's a book. It's amazing. It's based on Mao's Last Dancer, and the kids, acted it out for him, and he got really, really excited by it. So it was that drew us really to the book. They had highlighted it to us, and in reading it, we just thought it was absolutely amazing, and quite inspirational for young people, and it's about a young person, and through his life. So yeah, that's what kind of drew us to it.
Yeah, Tim's enthusiasm at first was just so wonderful about the book, and I'd read Mao's Last Dancer as well, and been inspired by the book, by the journey of Lee and his dedication and his hard work, but also his love for dance, his love for his family, his love for country, his love for new country, and as a migrant myself, that sense that he has when he leaves China and settles in another country, that sense of loneliness that he feels for his family that he's left behind, and the sense that they allow him to do what he wants because they love him, and all of those questions and those big unsolvable issues that happen as a migrant. So that came out as well, which I thought was wonderful for us to explore that story. But ultimately, it's a story about someone who has a dream, and it does actually come true. And you hear that all the time, and you hear that sort of Disney dreams come true. They do, and they did for Lee. They have, and I think that that's incredibly inspiring for young people, for old people, for all of us to hear, read, see, experience an actual true story of somebody's dream that came true. Yeah, I think that's ultimately the most inspiring thing about it.
I think the most exciting thing for me in seeing it come to life on stage is actually seeing the weaving of all the forms with our text, actually creating that picture. And I'm most excited about having Lee come and seeing his story, you know, on stage. You know, like at the moment we feel from his presence with us and his feedback to us that he's really happy with where it is. And I think it's really beautiful when you have the audience there actually, you know. So what I'm most excited is about actually sharing it with the audience, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and it's a really it's an interesting time that this working on this piece, because we always have an incredible responsibility and feel an incredible responsibility to the author of the work we adapt. But when it's the author's own true story, it's just something else, and it sort of fills you with something else inside. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it come off the page, and as Ev said, theatrically, in being told in all these different forms, and then being there in the audience, and in the audience with the young people and with Lee. I just think that would be extraordinary experience for those lucky to be there at that show. Yeah.
If we're stuck for ideas in the middle of the process, we just take a break, because there's no point pushing, you know, or we hand it around, and, you know, one of us will go off and make coffee and the other two will, you know, check emails. You just go away. You have to go away from it for a moment. Or go and read a bit of Mao's Last Answer. Go and just, you know, just step away. Sometimes it's in stepping away that you can actually see it from a distance, or hand it over.
Yeah,
you know, hand it over to somebody. You know, and that's where the dramaturg is pretty fantastic.
And we riff ideas as well. So we'll, if we get stuck at a certain point, we'll go, okay, let's just put that to one side. So what's this? What's happening here? What's this about? Okay, this is about sadness. Okay, let's riff some thoughts about sadness. You know, thoughts of our own sadness. We tell stories as well. Our own personal stories start to come in, and it's again layering, isn't it?
It's layering.
Yeah. But we eat as well.
We eat.
But yeah. I think one of the things that you have to do as a writer is give it away, hand it over, and that can sometimes be quite challenging to do that. But you have to trust that what will come from these words, and the very fact that in our process, that as adapters, that an author has entrusted us to adapt their work, and in Lee's case, adapt his life story. For us, then, we have an obligation and a responsibility, and we have to entrust and pass the baton on. And then as the show gets passed on to the audience, and how the audience respond to that is none of our business. We just tell the story. How people take the story, and what they take from the story, and where they take that story on. The stories, that's what stories are, aren't they? Storytelling, it's baton passing.
And it can be a challenge, you know, sometimes it is a challenge. And we've been writing for a long time together now, so we're better at trusting and handing over. But in our earlier days, it was a challenge to, you know, have we written this, so is it clear enough? Are they going to get it? You know, that.
Or they may interpret it, in a different way than we envisaged. And we just have to go, that's okay. Just let it go. This is their way of telling this story, and we have to entrust that. And have some grace about that. And I think it gets easier as you
I
get
think
older
it
as
has
well.
got easier.
Yeah, it has to. Otherwise, you'd be a grumpy old person.
Okay, so the advice that we'd probably give to young writers, the first thing would be write. Just write. Write and write and write. And don't judge yourself. Just write. Write any of your ideas. Work really, really hard. Go and see as much theatre as you can. You know, you can get cheaper tickets to go and see stuff, but it's really important that if you want to be a playwright, you need to see other people's work. If you want to be an author of novels, you need to read a lot of novels. So it's researching, it's looking at other people's styles, so that then slowly you will be able to develop your own style. But it's through the actual work of writing, because you can have all the ideas that you want, but until you start to put pen to paper or hand to keyboard, we write by hand. But that would be our advice: is to just do the work.
Mm-hmm.